Greetings, and once again we join Mr. Jones, and this time he's found a method to prove fuel inside wings. And the result is positive. We have fuel in the wings, like we've been telling him all the time, and now he has got his proof.
Right, this one's a dead simple video, 79 degrees, and I'm going to test this one here. 77. They've been in different places. They're on a windowsill. They weren't right together, but they're there you go, down to 81 degrees Fahrenheit. 82. You're getting a rough idea. You'll see what I mean in a minute. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the sink. They're empty aluminium cans for recycling. And all I'm doing here is putting cold water straight into the aluminium can. Now, as far as I'm aware, you can check if you want, but the wings on the aircraft are made of aluminium and they're riveted together. So instantly the temperature drops within a millisecond, 70 degrees, so what, nearly 10 degrees Fahrenheit, it's dropped down. So instantly the aluminium is taking up the temperature of the water. Now here we go. I'm going to prove a point because this is a hot tap from my unvented cylinder. So I'm just running it for a bit because it takes a couple of seconds just to come through the pipe. That's all I'm doing there. Oh, hold on, that's a bit, I'm struggling here because I'm doing it one-handed, as you do. Right, here we go, boom. Right, let's get this hot water into this aluminium can. And here we go. Instantly, 94, look at that, eh? Straight up there with the temperature, yeah? But lovely for a shower, but this video is just to emphasize the point I'm making about it's an even simpler test for somebody that's fueling one of these jet aircraft. They're not expensive. Whoa, that's it. Yeah, simple test. Buy one of those infrared thermometers, and as you're filling up the wings, just see if there's any temperature change. It should be the amount of volume of liquid, and bear in mind the liquid is underground, where they're telling us goes into the wings.
Okay, hold my beer. Let's take that challenge and run with it. Here we have a cold wing being warmed up by the warmer fuel. Take it away, Mr. Refueler. And we can see this wing is rather cold as there is frost underneath on the surface there. And the refueling has yet to begin. And yet to connect up, and we have got a temperature there of -7. Right, now we've got fuel going on board. That same wing is now about -1. Interesting. Now, Mr. Jones, let's look at a warm wing being cooled down by the fuel. Interesting again. Good morning, it's Sunday the 30th of June 2019, and as you can see, just gone 10:15 in the morning. Here we are underneath the wing of a 747. This 747 arrived here on the 29th of June, and let's see what temperature the wing is at present. As you can see, we are about 23 degrees, just shy of 23 degrees C here, climbing up to through 23, up to 24 climbing as we go out towards the outer engine. Now we come back to the aircraft a little while later, just before the refueler connects up, and as you can see, it's now almost 11 in the morning. And let's check what temperature the wing is. And this part is now up to 23 degrees C. Now with the fuel pumping on board, let's see where we are. Now the temperature has dropped a couple of degrees down to just over 20.5 degrees centigrade. The fuel temperature that was being pumped on board was at 17.5 degrees centigrade this morning. So there you go, Mr. Jones, using what you asked for as proof. Exactly what your cans did. The wing did the same. When you put the warmer fuel into a cold wing, it warmed up. And you put the colder fuel into the warm wing, it cooled down. Problem solved. But then again, you probably won't be happy with this, but you've just posted a video this morning that once again proves fuel to be in the wings. Well done for debunking your own argument, Mr. Jones.
Right, full credit to this YouTube channel, but this is filling a pool up. Let's just play it.
Which is called Marsite. So we've done that again this year. You have to empty the pool entirely. The only thing we acid wash was the very bottom, particularly the diving well, where most of our dirt, body fat, and oils will settle over the course of the year. So now that we've cleaned the skin of the pool, now we're refilling it. We have to access off a fire hydrant, which is appropriately located right outside our exit door, and to hook up two 2.5-inch fire hoses and fill the pool from both corners of the deep end. So it's 245,000 gallons of water that we have to replace back in the pool to fill it completely, and it takes us about 4 hours. In terms.
So let me just play that little last section there again, so we can just get the amounts.
Of the deep end. So it's 245,000 gallons of water that we have to replace back in the pool to fill it completely, and it takes us about 4 hours. In terms.
So 240,000 gallons takes them 4 hours to fill that pool. Right, let me just pause that a second. So I've just done 240,000 gallons times 4.5, just to roughly give me what it is in litres. So I've got 1 million and a bit litres there. If I divide that by 80,000 litres, so that's in 4 hours is just enough to fill 13.5 of those Airbus A380s. Are you seeing how ridiculous this is? I'm just going to pause this again and go back to that video.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
Hey, Mr. Jones, why are you suddenly changing the fuel capacity of your beloved A380? When have you ever argued it was 80,000 litres? It is 324,540 litres. You keep on telling us. That's what your Haynes manual says, and actually that's what Airbus say as well. And your maths is a bit wrong, and shall we do it correctly? You were using the wrong measure for gallons, as it was an American video. It was American gallons. They're smaller. Let's do it correctly, shall we? So we have 245,000 US gallons, which equate to 927,425.887 litres. You're a bit out, but we can work with that, can't we? So, Mr. Jones, we have 927,425.887 litres in that swimming pool. And that's filled in 4 hours. So if we divide that by 4, we get 231,856.472 litres per hour. That's a smaller quantity than filling an A380 from empty to full in an hour. Let's hold that thought for a moment, shall we? Now we can go back to 927,425.887. Now, let's divide that by 320 4,540 litres. So in 4 hours we could fill over 2.5 A380s. And what is your point? That's a lot less than your 13.
Not just that these are proper fire hoses and they're blasting out a hell of a flow rate. In fact, let me just show you the flow rates of an average fire hydrant. I mean, this is allegedly going into wings at a higher velocity than this. Hold on a second.
So why'd you have to look it up? Why couldn't you work the flow rates out from the video? You were presented with all the information. Well, let's have a look for ourselves, shall we? Okay, just go back a bit. Remember, we had 231,856.472 litres going into that pool per hour. So if we divide that by 60, we get 3,864 litres per minute being pumped into that pool through 2 hoses. So each hose has got a flow rate of 1,932 litres per minute. That's around about how the same flow rate as the A380 and any aircraft gets refueled at. Well done, Mr. Jones, for proving reality. Being the ignorant fool you are, Mr. Jones, you do not realise that the important thing on a refuel is not the flow rate. It's the delivery pressure. And the maximum refuel pressure for any commercial airliner is no more than 3.5 bar or 50 psi. End of story. It's not the flow rate that's important, it's the pressure. And for a plumber who cannot distinguish the difference between flow rate and pressure is pretty poor. See, Mr. Jones, your ignorance is great, isn't it? Because Airbus actually state on their other product, the A330, the flow rate to be 1580 litres a minute at a fueling pressure of no more than 50 psi or 3.5 bar. Just like that swimming pool is being refilled.
Right, so here we go. A hydrant should be connected to a water service capable of delivering a water flow rate of 1,500 litres per minute. Now, those jet planes are supposed to be being filled up with nearly twice that. I think it's 3,500 litres a minute.
As you can see, by doing simple calculations earlier, we can see this is probably very similar delivery pressure and flow rate to an aircraft refuel. You are talking crap as usual, Mr. Jones. Completely clueless. And thank you very much for producing a video that proves reality and debunks your whole lie and misinformation 100%. Thank you very much. And it just goes to prove, Mr. Jones, you are completely clueless.
Holy hell, son, you're about as useful as a cock-flavored lollipop.
Right, I think I'm going to make this my last video on these jet engines for a while anyway, because to be honest with you, if you can't see it's got no liquid fuel in it after all of those videos, I give up really. I'm never going to give up that, but you know what I mean. I want to get back on my moon map stuff and the number 7 and the relevance and how the engines work. I thought that might be a bit more interesting because the moon map and the flat earth and all this stuff, it all ties together. I promise I will try and bring it all together for you. Right, anyway, here, let's just have a look at this video. This is clearly not fuel being dumped. It's hot air. They always say when they're coming into land that they've got to dump all the fuel. I think it must be just some sort of build up inside the engine they need to get rid of, like pressure inside it. Again, I'm no expert, but you can see here, it's not liquid fuel they're dumping. It's making a cloud, a condensed cloud of hot air. What do I mean?
You are a sad, strange little man.
Well, the air seems to be quite liquid in these bits of film, Mr. Jones. Very liquid. I think you're talking crap again. And if you're not going to take that as evidence, well, Mr. Jones, I'll just have to let the Australian Air Force prove it to you. The last time I tried, I don't think you can set fire to air or water